Welcome to another show of Don't Get This Twisted. I am Rob, along with my co-host, as always, Tina. How you doing, Tina?
I'm good, Rob. I'm glad this is the last this is the last podcast of the year for us today.
It is. And look at you all throat drop in your mouth.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's that time of year.
Okay. It is that time of the year, unfortunately. So many friends have been sick. Fuck. Like, a lot of friends got sick.
I've heard the same thing.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I had a friend, one of my nurse friends, she lives in Santa Clarita, and she was supposed to leave on Monday, the 26th, to go to Oregon. Mm-hmm. And earlier in the week, she got COVID. So she canceled all her plans.
Aww.
And then I talked to her on Christmas Day, already negative.
Shit.
Yep. I was like, oh, you can leave. She's like, nope, canceled everything already.
Oh,
like,
man.
That's sucky. Yeah. So, I mean, I get it. It's kind of a drag, but you know, she didn't know she'd be negative. So, but it's definitely that time of year. Lots of people getting sick.
Yeah. And the weather keeps changing. You know, it was 80 degrees today in the valley. And yesterday was probably about 82. But the day before that, it was, I don't know, I think it got down to like 46 degrees when I went home that night. I couldn't believe like the difference in weather that we're having.
Well, it was crazy because the cold spell going across the country right now is out of control. Like,
not here.
Not here. That's what we pay for, right? We pay for the weather here. That's really all we pay for.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was 77 here today.
It was 81 in where I was going towards like Simi Valley area, 81 degrees.
And you know, by next Saturday, it's supposed to be 55 and raining.
Well, it's supposed to rain for the rest of the week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I talked to my dad. Oh, and just so the fans know, today we're literally just going to be bullshitting around pretty much everything that happened during Christmas and, you know, life in general and just shit. So it's not going to be a subject this week. It's going to be a whole lot of nonsense.
You made that sound kind of bad.
No, it's never bad.
We're catching up for the end of the year.
Yeah, but it's definitely not going to be like a subject driven. I think we're just going to talk about subjects and kind of see what's going on.
I get you.
And the weather seems to be one. And get this, I talked to my dad the other day who lives in South Dakota. I want to say Thursday of last week, Thursday or Friday. With the wind chill factor, it was 40 below.
Mm-hmm. Well, a friend of ours posted in Wyoming, -68.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't even know. I don't even want to know how cold that is.
I just don't. Well, it's death, actually. It's deadly.
It would be for me.
No, it's deadly for all of us. I think when it gets that cold, more than like 5 or 6 minutes, hypothermia starts setting in. You can't be out in it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So, and my dad has a dog.
Right.
So they would open up the slider. That dog would run out, pee or poop like instantaneously and run back into the house.
Well,
on its own.
To.
Like, yeah. They're like, nah, I'm not having none of this shit. And did it. I was like, 40 below. That's
insane.
That's crazy. Mm-hmm. Crazy fucking cold. So look, for we're pretty blessed on the West Coast, where, you know, for all the listeners that are out of the country or on the East Coast and are battling this crazy cold. I feel for you. I really do. Even where my friend lives in North Carolina, I want to say, which is, they have fair weather there. Like when I was there in February of this year, I want to say when we walked our dogs in the morning, it was like 27 degrees.
Mm-mm.
There today, the high was 45 and tonight it'll be 17.
Yeah, I'm not going there this time of year.
And then, but no, you would though, because by next Saturday, it'll be 70 degrees and raining.
I don't want that weather either.
No, but this goes to show you, like, it's the same. It's like it just rolls through the country. So like this heat that we have is going to slowly go through the country, melt all that snow, and people will have decent weather in a week.
Yeah, I just don't want to deal with that week of bullshit, though. To be honest with you, I don't want to shovel snow. I don't want to be in the snow. I want to look at it from afar, but I would like a warm breeze while I'm looking at it. Like, I don't want to be cold. I don't want to have to wear a jacket. I kind of like the weather 97% of the time here. I just can't imagine. Nice. Yeah, I couldn't imagine living where it rains. I couldn't imagine living where it's snowing all the time. But I don't want to be where it's really humid either. I'm spoiled. I'll say it. I'm spoiled.
Yeah, for sure. Look, I mean, we are spoiled, period. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I mean, we are. That's just reality.
I texted my cousin from the nail salon because I was getting my toes done, and I looked at my feet and I was like, oh my God, my tan's completely gone. And I was really dark. I got really dark this summer. The pool and floating in the pool and swimming and everything, it kind of just saved my soul with going through everything. I just needed a safe place, and that's where I made my safe place. So for the first time in 30 years, I really had a good tan going. And I was sad when I looked. I'm like, it's Christmas time and I'm bright white again. Great.
Well,
but
yeah, I mean,
I'm not in snow.
It's funny too, because the mountain behind me here, I get snow on the mountain when it's cold and we get some raining. We had a pretty nice snow on it. It's gone now. And then there's a far mountain range that still has snow on it, but I'm sure after this weekend, it'll probably have a little less. But we live here because we can go to the beach and we can go to Big Bear in the same day. Mm-hmm. You can literally ski in the morning and be on the, walking in the sand before the end of the night.
Yep.
We have it kind of nice. There's no doubt about that. You can't argue the fact that the California, or at least Southern California weather is spot on.
Yeah. No, it is. And I take full advantage of it.
Well, yeah, I think, look, we all do. Thank goodness. I mean, it's a somewhat paradise comparative to the rest of the country, where, it's not an island like Hawaii, but we're definitely in the mid 50s to 80 degrees almost year round.
Yeah. With the exception.
So, yeah. Look, we got to throw some cold weather in there every blue moon, or there'd be 25 million people in Los Angeles instead of 7.
I don't know. Give it a minute after this weather system.
Yeah. The only thing that keeps people away from here is the price of rent.
Mm-hmm.
So how was your holiday?
It was pretty good. We made tamales, so we did exactly what we've done for as long as I can remember. So that's kind of the meal we had, was more of a Mexican style Christmas meal, which is fine with all of us. We totally love it. And every year for the last few years, because my niece and nephew, they're getting older and they don't want gifts. They want money or experiences. Because I always say, do you want stuff or do you want the experience? And they always say money or the experience. So my nephew wanted money, and it kind of pissed me off because I've been asking him for 3 months what he wanted for Christmas, and he couldn't come up with anything. So I took a random amount of money, which was very close to what his sister's present was worth. And I folded up all the money that I had reaching that amount, and I stuck it in a water bottle and froze it. So when he got his gift, he opened a frozen water bottle with money in it. So he had to sit it outside, and he's like, well, how much is it? I'm like, I don't know. You're going to have to check it out. And he thought it was funny that I would do that. And I'm like, next time, just tell me what you want. It doesn't need to be that difficult. So he got a kick out of that. But I also make a big ball of presents. Like it used to be where I would get stocking stuffers for everybody. And it was so annoying to have to do this every year, get a toothbrush, get toothpaste, whatever, gift cards, whatever you could find. So now what I do is I make a big ball out of all the gift cards and all the things that we do for stocking stuffers. And I saran wrap it and I duct tape and I tin foil and do all that to it. So it makes this big obnoxious ball and every layer has like a gift or something in it. It may not be the gift that was meant for you, but if you pull it off the ball, you get to keep it or you could trade it with whomever you think it belongs to. But my niece and nephew think it is so hilarious. Like they can't stop laughing because, and then in order to get it apart, you have to use oven mitts. And you could only do it for as long as the person next to you doesn't roll doubles. So sometimes you'd put on the oven mitts and the person would roll doubles and you didn't even get to touch the ball and it was going to the next person. It was so funny to listen to my niece and nephew crack up. And then my cousin came with his kids, so they got in on it. And, there's like, we had... I don't know. I probably spent about $400 in gift cards. Just shit. It was a big ball. Like I'll send you the picture of it. So, and that's what the kids like. They're starting to like these dumb things that I do instead of like trying to make it all like perfect for them. So I appreciate that because I'm over the whole perfect thing. And, I like that they want to spend time with me and do stuff. But my godson, he was like, hey, Nina, you never took me out to lunch and you took my brother and I was really jealous. And I'm like, so when do you want to go? He's like, well, I'm off of school now. I said, how about tomorrow? And he's like, yeah, that would be cool. I said, all right, so we're going to do what I did with your brother, right? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, cool. We're going to go get some sushi and we're going to hang out. And so we went. He wanted to go. He was asking for it. So I picked him up and actually he was texting me a couple hours before I was even supposed to be there saying he was ready, but I couldn't get out of bed this morning. Christmas is over and my ass was done. So I ended up picking him up a little bit late. We went and had sushi. We had a really cool time. And he was like, I love spending time with you. You're one of my favorites and you're so cool. And I'm like, God, it is nice to hear that you're doing something right for once. So I was kind of eating it up. I'm not going to lie. And it was just a good time. And we got to talk and be close. And it wasn't any of the family crap involved. It was just me with the kid having a good time. It was a good afternoon. So
sounds like it. Yeah. Sounds like someone made out and got a good lunch.
Oh, totally. And I don't have a kid of my own. So if the kids want to go and do something that their parents may not want to take them to because it's too expensive or maybe they can't afford it at the time or whatever, it's like if the kids tell me they want it, 9 times out of 10, they get it. And if they don't get it, they get something, that I could afford or whatever. So
right.
Yeah, he was telling me that he was kind of devastated when he found out that I was getting divorced. But he also said, he goes, I'm so proud of you guys because you're teaching everybody how to be an adult. And I was like, hey, thanks. He was like, I'm glad you guys get along and that he's still cool with you. And you talk nice about him. He's like, good for you. So I got all the acceptance I could get out of a 12-year-old and it was a good day. But it's nice to hear what somebody else has to say in an honest opinion without being, all judgy and bitter. It's a good thing.
No, that's for sure.
Right?
Yeah, I had an easy one because my son went to mom's for his birthday and Christmas. So I just kind of chilled alone and watched movies and worked on the podcast a little bit and walked my dog. It was kind of a very simple, more relaxing than anything. I really didn't do much. I mean, I caught up on other things like household stuff that I'd been kind of slacking on and laundry and I did everything before Christmas Day so I could on my last day of holiday, I could do nothing.
Nice.
So that's what I did.
I just wanted to get through to this day because everything was so chaotic and I worked a lot of hours, and not that I'm complaining. I actually really enjoyed it, but I'm done. I needed to sleep in this morning.
Yeah, I get you. I mean, look, I didn't get to sleep in much because I was, like I told you before, I was trying to train my dog to kind of stay out on his own with not being crated. So Friday night came home chilled, and then Saturday morning he jumps up on the bed at 4:40 and wakes me up. Now, I usually get up at 4:00 in the morning, but I had like watched movies on Friday night and I went to bed later than I usually do. And I was like, dude, stop, please. You can't do that. But, so I the last couple of days, he let me sleep in, today. He let me sleep in until about 5:50.
What a giver. Fuck.
Yeah. Which is kind of nice. So I'm not going to lie, when you're used to getting up at 4 a.m., it was like,
I get it.
He was nice to me and didn't fucking kill me. But yeah, so I mean, it was kind of cool. I got to talk to my parents and talk to my mom. My brother is in England, so we sent text messages and he sent me some pictures from London, which was kind of cool.
Nice.
So it's kind of his last hurrah with his sons, because they're both kind of older, and like one's in college in Arizona, but he's there with them. And then my youngest nephew is graduating high school this year, so he'll probably be off to college as well. So they'll be empty nesters. So I think they wanted to do one last vacation as a family.
Nice.
At least for the time being, because, again, once they all start going to college, there is no making that kind of plan where you can like take weeks for a vacation. So
yeah,
it's kind of cool.
Doing?
I think better.
Good.
A lot better than she was. So it's good. She's doing good. She was, I had to help her the other day with her computer. So, me, I'm always helping on the computer. I use the old login that I help you with. So I went. Yeah,
you're so patient with that, because I am not technical for that sort of.
She's pretty technical. Stuff. She just can't see well anymore. So I went in and made all the fonts bigger in her computer and made it so she can work. So it was nice. She was like, you fixed it. I'm like, yeah, I fixed it. It's all good, Mom. So it was cool. And she, overly excited is always fun. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it was good, but everyone's doing good. The holidays is past us, or at least, going into the new year, which is always a fun adventure. Do you have plans for the new year?
No, I didn't make any. You know what? I do the same thing probably every year. Whoever doesn't have plans comes over, brings whatever they're going to sleep in or whatever. And we just have like food and play games and hang out. So I'm imagining it won't be anything different from that. So feel free.
Yeah. Just party time, right?
Yeah. Well, you've been there. We get a little bit wild, but not out of control where we have to call the police. So
no. Thank goodness.
It's like a safe and sane sort of place to be.
We're far back. We're far back and away from having the police called.
I miss those days.
I mean, good times, no doubt. But yeah, the last thing I need in life is the police coming to knock on the door about anything.
Yeah. No, I'm totally with you. I'm over those days.
Yeah. I'm far too old for that shit. I can't have that. So Yeah.
Do you remember the old house parties where it would end because there was a drive-by? You know what I mean? That I went to so many dance parties where that was the case, to the point where I went with my friend Montebello. This was a few years back. And I told her, hey, in case there was a driveway, which way do you think the bullets would be coming from? And she was like, what? I'm like, I just got to know which way to run. Like, I don't want to be going the wrong way. And she thought, that is the craziest thing. But that's how we grew up. And she, you know, she is the same age. And she goes, that is the smartest thing I think you've ever said to me. And I'm like, I just want to know which way to go. Like, I need an escape plan right now. But,
right. I just think that also it was either, you know, drive-bys, fights, you know, parents coming home early.
Yeah.
Like it was always something that, you know, broke these parties up. And, you know, it's funny too, because there's so many places in the Valley where kids during our high school years had big houses that could be used as party dens. It was kind of a interesting time for, you know, because we lived in a decent area of the San Fernando Valley. So it wasn't like we weren't in the hood. So it was a little, you know, it was a little different for sure. So I don't know. I didn't go to many of those things because I didn't have that social connection like a lot of people did. But I threw 2 of them with my best friend, and those were so much that, get this. So his stepfather passed away last week at the age of 90.
Oh,
so
sorry to hear that.
He had a good run. They went to the wake and the funeral. And so his sister, so if you can believe this, my best friend's mom and family went to Texas for a week, I think during spring break. And he didn't want to go. He was like, nah, I don't want to go. I was like, all right. So he didn't. So they let him stay behind, which is insane to me because I mean, I maybe would do it with my kid, but probably not. So we end up throwing this party. Someone who knew his sister went to the funeral, and his sister was there. And somehow it got around to where they lived. And the guy during this thing goes to her and goes, oh yeah, I remember where you lived. There was this badass party I went to.
Oh, wow.
and my best friend was like, holy shit, it was our party. I was like, even he said, he goes, you can't even, you know, talk crazy on that. Like, this was like, what, 30 years ago. I was like, holy crap. So I found that to be quite funny that all these years later, they still remembered that. And even my best friend was like, dude, he called me out of nowhere. He's like, you'll never believe this. Like, this is what was said. And then his sister was like, I wasn't there. I was like, oh shit. So, you know,
nice.
It is kind of humorous that years later you can throw a house party and someone remembers it from that long ago. So,
yeah, but you know, I remember going to parties and things that would happen that had never happened before. They stick with you. And then that party becomes like something in your head that you always remember. Like, I remember one of my friends that was a year older than us, and he was in the class communicators with us where we went to school. He was going away. And so we had a house party, or he had a house party for his going away trip. And that was an epic party. That party, I had so much fun. I was one of the ones that started the dancing. I'm sure I ended the dancing. I drank, which I don't normally. Met a guy, had a great time at this party. And like, that was the beginning of relationships that night. Like people met up and hooked up, and it was one hell of a party. And
it was a humdinger.
Yeah, it was. And I remember it. Like, I remember that we got alcohol from one of the girls who worked at a grocery store, had a friend that was older that put it on the back of the I don't know, that thing that they rise up to get into the trucks. You know, they got like a little platform that rises up. So you just left it right there, and we drove by. She grabbed it, threw it in the car, and we took off. I was like 17 at the time. Like, so Yikes. Those type of things, like when everything that happens is something you've never experienced, those are the parties you remember, or that I remember. But boy, really
it's pretty amazing that here again, years later, even some of the people that we know, that we're still in contact with, because you said the other day that you ran into a teacher of ours or talked to him. And, that was, 30 something years ago. And still that, and I'm sure that even that one would be a fun, he'd be a great person to have on this show. Actually,
I know, wouldn't he? I was thinking the same thing. I don't know if he would do it, but God, that would be
probably fun. Not. But it would be interesting for sure, because he has a lot to say.
Yeah,
I would definitely. He's always a
give it to you straight kind of guy.
Yeah, and lots of words of wisdom.
Yes,
a lot of the things that he said to us, mostly during the class that you're talking about. It was a interesting time that we got to be in a class that was really about learning how to talk to people and interact. It's unfortunate that they don't have something like that today. It would be a godsend, really. I think that they'd be lucky to have.
They'd have to give back a lot of the authority to the teachers to have a class like that. And I don't think that this generation's parents would allow that, to be honest.
No, because I agree. And
we talked about things that now would be so inappropriate to talk to a kid about, and where it was so beneficial to us. And we've talked about it. We've changed and grown in so many ways because of things we heard back then, and didn't even realize that was the seed that was planted for us. So I don't see parents wanting their kids to experience that. And it's a shame, because it did force us to grow and evolve and look at things in a more, in a better perspective than what we would have otherwise. They really should have left that class alone.
I definitely agree.
Yeah.
I think if they would allow that to happen today, and like you said, probably will never happen like that again, unfortunately, that they're really missing out on
something very real.
Yeah. And furthering how us as humans communicate with each other. It really opens you up to understanding how humans work. And it was such a small detail where during that time period, I didn't get it.
Oh no.
I didn't think it was
you planted
anything.
Seeds. We had no idea like what it was going to evolve into, for sure. We just didn't.
I had no clue. I didn't think it was going to be anything beneficial when I got into it. Obviously, after you take it for a semester.
I think I was the one that talked you into taking that class.
I believe you did.
And I believe that you gave me kind of a lot of shit.
Probably did.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah, that I wouldn't be surprised at all that I gave you shit at all. I'm sure. I would. I'm sure that it was very, very much me going, why do I want to do that shit? That doesn't make any sense to me. But I definitely think it would be so beneficial today. But you would also have to have a teacher that is willing to not give two shits what people think.
Mm-hmm.
And he did. He knew that he had to get inside of people's brains and kind of break their shell
guard.
Because I think some of us had there were people that went into that class that we took that didn't need it. They were the backbone of it though, because they were already talkers. Thankfully, I think the first class that I took had seniors in it already that had already taken the class. So, it was a welcoming place to where, you could say stuff and be open about pretty much anything. I don't think there was anything that we didn't talk about.
Or couldn't.
Yeah. And that was probably the bigger thing, and look, I'm sure I had to take something home at that time. I don't even remember if there was a slip consent that we had to get okayed. I don't remember. I'm sure there probably was, but I just think that going forward from when I went into that class to when we finally left it as seniors, I definitely grew as a person.
Mm-hmm.
Because I wasn't you got into that circle and it really kind of was like opening a door to who you were.
Yeah.
And you knew that you didn't have to hold back or if you were not a communicator, you at least learned that it was okay to speak up and he would call on you. Like, what do you think? What do you think? Who are you? Like, you had to stand up and say who you were.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of like, when you introduced yourself to the class, by the time that last year came along, I was like, this is me, boom, 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 boom. It wasn't, it was just so open. So I don't know. I think that it could work today, but I definitely think there would be it'd be too easy to cancel your teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Because he wasn't afraid of talking about anything, and which was awesome because there was no, and I don't even want to say taboo because I don't think that's the word I'm looking for, but it's probably the one that everyone would understand. He was like, you could talk about if you were having problems with your parents and on any level, like, oh, this is how I'm at, or you could go in and say, my grades are slipping. What do you think I should do? Or who should I talk to? And he'd set you that direction. So the teacher is always the base, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And I think today it's overly liberal, which is good and bad. But I think it could work. And I think I'm a better person for it. I'm glad that, because I remember we went out to have drinks with him years and years and years ago. I forgot where that was. Where did we go?
Wasn't it at the Elephant Bar in Simi or something?
Fuck, I don't even. I just remember us. We all met there. It was like me, you, him, and somebody else.
Yeah,
I don't remember, but too many blows to the head. But yeah,
I want to forget.
Well, yeah, look, we all want to forget a lot of things,
right?
But I think from the standpoint of how kids are growing up, I wish that somehow they could find a way to do that. I'd love to have several people from that class on this podcast to talk about what it did for them.
That would be cool.
Because to me, it was definitely an eye opener to, look, it's okay to be yourself. Because like I said, I was kind of a nerdy kid. Like, I collected comic books and was into sci-fi and pulp culture, and which is okay now. Like, you can be the star quarterback on your team and be a comic book collector.
Yeah.
And no one even blinks. They're like, oh, yeah, that's what you're a kid. Not when I was in high school. I didn't tell people I collected comics. because
no, you didn't.
no, because
I heard about that a couple years into knowing you, but it wasn't something that you freely spoke about. And then when you did, I was like, what?
Yeah. Well, because if you did, you were like the nerdy kid. You were like, oh, he's a geek. It's like, no, I'm just into that. And again, now who isn't? Like when my boy was in high school, he said that like everyone was like, I'm a Marvel fan. Everyone would wear fucking Marvel shit and, Batman shirts and all kinds of stuff. No one did that when we were at school. So
interesting.
It's kind of interesting that, there was a place where I wasn't afraid to at least talk openly, and it's good. I think that's what's made me who I am.
You needed that.
Oh, I definitely needed that. Yeah. Because it set me up for my future. And once getting out of high school, I worked in customer service for 11 years. So actually I still work in it, but I really worked in it right out of high school. So, that definitely made it easier for me to continue to do that. Like I had no problem talking to people once I was there. So it's good.
No, it was good. You needed that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know where I was going with that long run, but parties. That's what we were talking about.
That's where it started.
New Year's Eve parties. Yeah. Started with New Year's, which I have no plans as of right now, but I have to talk to my boy and see what he's going to do. Kind of see what, I hate traveling on that day. Like you said, it has to be, if I go somewhere, I go to stay because I hate traveling that day. That is the worst.
That's perfectly okay. For me, that's exactly where I would rather everybody just stay. Be safe. We'll have breakfast in the morning. And then you could get the hell out. Do your own thing. Like I'm cool with that. You know? Hey,
thanks for coming. Here's some food. Get the fuck out.
Right. I'm going to feed you and then get the fuck out because I need to take a shower. No, I'm kidding.
You're like, oh, I'd be like, what?
No, but I mean, nobody hangs out like we used to. Like I tell people, come over. We'll do something for New Year's Eve, and everybody shows up and everybody stays for 3-4 days. That doesn't happen. Like you're lucky if you get people to just stay for breakfast, and then they got to go and do their own thing too. So I'm okay with that. Because
you're in catch up mode because you're like, I spent the whole damn day here. I have to do this. Like this weekend because I usually go shopping on Sundays, and Sunday was Christmas, so they were closed. And then today I didn't want to do shit, so I didn't go shopping again. So I was like, I walked into my boys' room not too long ago. I was like, dude, we really need to find a way to get to the market. And he's like, maybe we'll do it tomorrow. I was like, okay. Just so.
Well, thankfully, you could also call and have it delivered. I mean, we do live in that world.
I can't do that. I have to go to the market. I have to pick my own shit. And I know that sounds crazy, but
no,
I
I'm
don't
the same
know.
way.
And I'm not one for paying somebody to do that. Fuck that. And I know that's horrible because that's someone's living, but no way. And I'm like, nope.
No, I get you. I'm the same way. But in a pinch, you could always do that.
Yeah. And if anything, I might just send him tomorrow. Like he can go during the daytime when I'm working. So
that's why you got a kid.
Yeah.
That's what my mom used to say. You know why you learned to drive? I said, why? So you could take your ass to the store and you could get butter, or you could do this for me, or you could go pick up your brother. Yeah. So.
Yeah, because for fuck's sake, it's like, dude, you're not doing, although he does a lot for me, but it's great because he can run over there and I can go, hey, pick up this, and this. And he can get it. And since we do live in that technical world now, he'll just FaceTime me from the fucking market.
Yeah. Like 9 out of 10 people in the aisles do.
Yeah. And he's like, is this what you want? And he'll point the phone to the fucking product. I'm like, no, I want the one over to the right. Okay. He'll throw it. Is that it? Yeah. Go pay for it and I'll send you money. So that's the cool part. But I don't know. I think that, with all the holidays and shit, it's rough to do like regular shit. And now that these holidays are falling on the weekend. So again, come up New Year's, we're right back on the same shit. Friday's New Year's Eve. So everything is going to close at 9:00, or, or you have to do this. And then the next day, New Year's Day, it's like all the football. So everyone will be at the fucking market barbecuing. And I'm sure that, since it's supposed to rain here, it won't be as crazy, but you know how our weather changes. So heaven forbid it's warmish again. So everyone will be outside barbecuing. All the shit, the stores will be selling hot dog and hamburger buns and all that fun stuff. So, it's an interesting thing what's going to happen over the next week again.
I never even thought about that.
Yeah, because I think Saturday. Yeah, and Saturday's New Year's Eve, so now we're gonna have a New Year's Eve on a Saturday, so everyone will be able to generally do it, go to parties, have big ones. The first one, bigger one post COVID.
Yep.
Because there were a lot of people traveling. It took me a while to get home on Friday night. Mm-hmm. People went places this year for sure. I think
good.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. And now a New Year's party, I think there'll be invites to go to, I'm sure, even though they might be small gatherings, not 50 people, but I bet you there'll be places where there's 20 close friends drinking, having a good time, counting in the new year.
Well, I hope that's at my house, because that sounds like a good time.
Yeah, I think so too. Look, there's nothing better than spending time with your friends and or their friends. I mean, if you're a social butterfly, which you are, there's no yeah. Wow. Jeez. You don't actually believe that, do you?
I don't think I'm that social.
Yeah. So
no, I
don't know. I've been to one of your parties. So if there's music playing, you're social.
Oh, I love when music's playing, but I'm normally not really social when music's on, because I'm on the dance floor.
That's what I mean, though. But that's still being social.
Yeah.
That's being, you're in a social environment. You kind of, people know you're on the dance floor because it's rowdy and loud.
Wait, what are you trying to say for real?
I don't know. I was at that last party before we started this.
That.
So I know all about Tina parties. So they're
I like
always
to have fun. If you cannot have a good time, you're doing it wrong. You're just doing it wrong. But I woke up the next day from that party and every freaking part of my body had an ache or pain or and then my thighs I couldn't sleep on my stomach like I like to do, because my thighs were on fire. And I was like, what the hell? Well, I guess coming out of COVID, being where we weren't really doing much for quite a while, really screwed up my stamina. Not that I let it stop me, because I danced all night. If that DJ was playing, it was on. But man, I was sore afterwards. I was almost cry yourself to sleep sore.
Yeah. I think as we get older, we still believe we're young, and we are. Look, we're not horribly old, but you do realize that you can't go and do those same things that we did when we were 18. It's just not, that's not reality. So I kind of do the same thing. I'll do something. And then the next morning I'm like, damn, my ankles hurt. Or if I hiked with my dog somewhere where there was some more hills than I usually walk with him, the next morning I'm like, dude, my quads are killing me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I think that but you're right. It nothing stops. It just doesn't stop. I don't want to be that person that's just no, I can't do it. I was telling you earlier, I've been averaging about somewhere around 25 miles a week walking. So I'm walking about 100 miles a month right now.
That's awesome.
Which is awesome. Yeah, but you do realize that parts of you don't work well anymore. My knees, knees are, I abused myself wrestling for 20 years. So my knees are not the greatest. So I've ordered some stuff on Amazon, some stuff for like joint pain or joint, to work on your joints, and a plethora of more vitamins now that I'm trying to like really kind of take care of that. So I'm feeding my body with stuff that is going to help it and not hurt it.
Good. That's exactly what you need to do. We should not be stopping by any means what we're doing. We should not. If anything, we should be doing it more. What?
Yeah. I heard a comedian the other day. I listened to, I don't know if you've ever listened to the Two Bears, One Cave podcast. It has,
not yet. You've told me, and
it's amazing. You will laugh hysterically. It's really good. But they were also talking, they were on Joe Rogan's show, and they were Segura and Kreischer were on his show talking about just working out, because they do a thing in October. They do where in October, no one drinks, no one smokes, no one does anything. And they do it for one whole month. And then in the beginning, they did a lot of crazy shit, but now they do it where they have to burn a certain amount of calories every day. So however you get there, walking, lifting, whatever it is, whatever your drug of choice is. So part of that, but they were talking about, in your 50s, like in your 40s, really, anytime past 40, but definitely in your 50s, you should lift weight every day, regardless of how it could be 5 pounds, 5-pound dumbbells, but you should do it, because what you're doing is you're teaching your muscles to not stop.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The atrophy is the worst. It'll kill you. So I've got some dumbbells now that I'm going to lift really light. There's, I'm getting the cardio every fucking day. That dog is dragging me all over the fucking place. So, but I took, Odin had some dumbbells in his room. I took those, and I'm just going to lift at night. Just, dumbbell curls, do some tricep extensions, do something just to lift some weight and I already do it at work, because I lift TVs and I lift a bunch of other shit at work.
Yeah.
But it's important. And I think as we get older, exercising on the smallest level is what's going to keep us going. So I think cardio wise, mostly for me, I've had that dog for, it was since June. So what, June, July? So 6 months. I've had him 6 months. Obviously in the beginning, he didn't walk that much because he was a tiny boy. But now, like there was week days, usually on the weekend, like 2 weeks ago, I walked 7 miles with him in one day.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's bonkers. And your cardio is going to get better to where I can walk 3 miles now, but I don't even blink. It's like do. So things are getting easier, and I'm definitely dropping weight. I don't know what to yet. I probably should weigh in just for shits and giggles to kind of see where I end up at, because I'm going to try to keep this pace up of at least 25 miles a week.
Nice.
The cool part, the funny thing is I saw some stupid thing on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. I think it was Facebook. And it was like 30 mile a month with your dog. Walk your dog 1 mile a day. And I saw it on there and I was like, you fucking kidding me? I go, 1 mile. I do that in the morning with him. Like we walk 1 mile before I go to work. So I kind of giggled to myself. I was like, 30 miles in 30 days. Shit. Try 30 miles in a week. Like, so it's cool. And I think that if you're definitely of our age, the simplest things of just walking is going to prolong our life, because man, there's a lot of younger people dying.
Seriously. So this year's been rough.
Young, like 30-year-olds of like heart attacks. Crazy. So, I think we definitely need to take care of ourselves. Mostly, there's a new year coming, and I know that we did resolutions last year, and like I don't believe in them. I think they're kind of nonsense. But I definitely think there should be a goal of life, whatever that life goal is, where it's like, look, if you can't walk every day, do it every other day. Do something. Definitely get out and change. Change is good. And
absolutely.
Whatever that change is coming for this new year, I think you should take it on with a smile, because I know you're going through change as well. You know, your divorce is final.
It's final. Yeah.
So
now the next step happens and I'm like, am I ready for this? And I'm not. I'll be honest. I'm so not ready for anything that's going on. But, you know, it's not going to stop life from changing. And I haven't been ready for even an eighth of the shit that I've had to do in my life. So just got to keep moving. And, you know, it's still kind of cool. Like you talk about happiness and is it obtainable? And I really think it's all in how we do things, you know, internally. And I'm just really trying to look at all the good there is that life has to offer, because there is so much, and to try to not to dwell so much on the crappy part of life. And you know, I do feel like I've this year especially been a lot happier. Not that life hasn't been serious and there hasn't been like huge upsets and heartaches and hurts and everything else. There has been, but I just feel like I'm taking it a little lighter. I'm not letting it stick as much. I mean, that could change at any time, because I guess if something was really that hard for me, I would have a harder time doing it. But you know, I really kind of liked myself this year. As hard as it was, I was pretty impressed. So we'll see how next year goes.
And that's good. Well, in the coming weeks, you're going to hear a show on happiness. So we've talked about it before. So we're going to break that down a little bit bigger. But look, I think, we both have, there's always ups and downs. Like life is what it is. You're definitely going through a different period, or a different season, however you want to look at that. My life is pretty much the same, and it kind of just weaves in and out of weird, crazy shit that I do. You're definitely going through something, which is, look, it's a turning point in your life. You're a certain age and you're now divorced. You're definitely going to a fork in the road where you're going to decide what you do in life, which is awesome. And look,
makes me want to throw up listening to you talk about it.
Yeah, no, I did it, and it can be where you feel like, you want to throw up and you want to, run away.
Like? It feels, yes, running away for sure is definitely something that I want to do. We've talked about that, but it feels like the biggest roller coaster you could ever ride. You got your hands up in the air and your tongue's basically hanging out of your mouth because you're yelling at the top of your lungs. It feels like that. Like, it makes my stomach kind of sick. Like, okay, we're going down. And honestly, when I think about it, that's how it feels. It feels that reckless and wild and free, but so stinking scary and still so cool at the same time. Like, I didn't have to thrash anything to smithereens and just beat it all up in order to get through it. And I'm kind of happy with myself in that respect.
Yeah, that's a plus. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
That's super big. And like, it's all step by step. And I think that that's what you're going through, what I'm going through, what most people who are listening to this go through. Every day is just a step in some direction. Sometimes it's fucking 20 steps backwards. It is.
As long as you're moving.
Look, that's the biggest thing. As long as you're moving. Sometimes it takes 20 steps to go backwards, and then it's going to take you 60 forward. You just have to wait for that time period to come. And that's the harder part, is getting through these little steps and jumps out of the way and maneuvering past this and crying over this and going through this bullshit and getting rid of this and saying goodbye to this person. And the next thing you know, it's a wide open field again. And you're like, oh, okay, well, I fucking, got through this, and you skipped through the daisies over here, but walked on glass over here. So like it's a bigger thing. It's a new year. I'm going into this next year with a little more upbeat with what we can do, what I can do, where I see myself going forward, definitely what this podcast is going to become and how we can make it bigger and get more people to listen and pass it on to more of our friends and see what we can do. Like we've hit a lot of countries, and I think we're like 6 states away from all 50.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty amazing thing for me that we thought that this was going to be.
We didn't think it was going to be anything. We were doing it for therapy for ourselves.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
And I think, we have like over 3,000 downloads total since we've started this, which look, that's a pretty cool thing to say that that many people have listened over the last year. And it's a cool thing to me. I'm pretty proud of that. I mean, we've had over 1,300 different listeners. That's so 1,300 people have heard our voice at least. And of those 1,300 people, they've downloaded this show 3,000 times. So I want to, thank everybody for this last year, and it's an amazing ride, and we're going to keep you on this roller coaster ride of our opinions, and we're definitely having a different view and a different show for the next year. It's going to be as many interviews as we can get on here, other people's opinions, and of course our crazy slanted, crazy views of society. Anything else you have to say?
I just want to wish you a happy new year, and to all of us, to everyone out there that listens to us. Thank you so much for listening, and please continue, follow, share. You could find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You could listen to us on Apple, Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio, or anywhere there are podcasts. Like, you could reach us and reach out if you have something you want to talk about, or something you need to say, or something you want to disagree or agree with. We'll listen to everything you have to say. And just thank you for listening. It's been a cool year. And that's that it has. Yeah. Cool. And as you know, this is an opinion show, so don't get it twisted. Feel free to come back every week and listen to our historic, honest, and crazy rhetoric. Love you, chick. You're super cool. Glad things are going good for you. Love you too, and they are. And I'm glad they're going for you too. We're just going to keep at it. And I'll probably see you in a week because we're going to eat. I'm ready. So our first business meeting of the year. And and that's legitimate, which is even funnier. It is. It's literally a business meeting. It's pretty funny. All right, guys and gals, thanks for listening. Please share, send this to all your crazy friends too. And we're going to have many more topics for the new year. For Tina, I'm Rob, and we will see you in a week. Yay. Talk to you later, girlie. See ya.